All right, so welcome back to another episode of Finding Your Way with Lori and Tonya. We are super excited that you are here. Listen, if you're a first-time listener, we are so glad you found us, and we believe wholeheartedly that you have found us for a reason, and there's something today that is meant for you. And if you are a returning listener, we are so grateful for you. We ask that if something resonates for you here, to share it with somebody you think could get something out of it as well. We have been down a long journey and road, and we do different things and practice different techniques and tools. And truly, it's just about bringing what we've learned to you guys so you don't have to go find it. And so if you're here for a reason. So welcome.
Yeah, so today we thought it might be appropriate, since we've gone from Thanksgiving and then going into the other holidays in December, that maybe we talk about how do we make our holidays a little bit brighter. So I think it's important to note that we have not always experienced bright holidays.
Right.
So I remember, Tonya and I talk all the time about it. It really was a mindset shift of like always thinking about the negative, always thinking about things in a way of I've got to do it, or I'm responsible for this, or almost out of sacrifice versus out of love and kindness and that kind of thing. And I was there for many. I celebrate Christmas, so for many Christmases it was almost like anti-holiday, Lori, because I was so focused my mind was focused on all the things I had to get done because they were expected of me versus really enjoying the season. And so, I lost those years. I lost those years of really celebrating and really remembering what the Christmas season is all about, and really remembering what Thanksgiving and the whole end of each year is all about. And I can't get that time back, right? I've because I lived it that way, it's gone now. However, when I was able to change my mindset into a more intentional way of thinking, more positive way of thinking, I was able to recognize what I was doing back then. And I was so miserable because I was making myself miserable. Like I was in this cycle of always looking for the negative and not seeing the blessings. And so I think it is at the very base of what we want to talk about today is are you enjoying time? And if you're not, what's going on? Like, how are you approaching things? What's your mindset around these things? And it's not to say that everybody is going to have a happy holiday season. There's a lot of people that struggle during this time, whether they've lost loved ones or just didn't have a real good time growing up. This brings back bad memories for some people. So it's not that everybody has to be happy, joy. However, it is that you can change, just like in daily life, not just during the holiday season, but anytime you can change your perspective on things, which can really change how you experience a situation.
Right. And, part of that is, Lori, I talk a lot about events that we go to now, that we say no to and that we go to, and how before this mindset change and the shift that we experienced, we were saying yes out of sacrifice, out of because we didn't think we had a choice, because we were trying to please too many people. And all of those yeses came at a price, and it was a personal price. It also came at a price of being around people who weren't in our energy, weren't vibing at the same level we were negative. Maybe the conversations were not conversations we needed to be exposed to. Maybe just in general, they weren't good people, right? And when you're and that's part of this season, is there are going to be things you have to go to. There are going to be events, there are going to be parties, there are going to be family gatherings, where there's going to be somebody there that is just not your cup of tea, that is for whatever reason, gives you that negative feeling, the negative energy, the conversations that are being had. And so I think I stopped being able to tolerate that a few years ago. My tolerance for gossipy conversations and conversations that really are negative or political in nature, when my family gets together, half are Democrat, half are Republican, and when they start talking that, for me, it is a complete downer. And it's not that they're arguing per se, but the negative energy and vibe, I literally make it a point to walk outside as soon as they start having that discussion. I can't look at them and go, nope, we're not doing that this year. They're adults, but I don't have to take part. And I think that that's a huge piece of this is say no to what doesn't feel right. And if there are things that you have to go to and you have to do, there are some tools you can use to meditate a little bit before you go. But also to stop, go to the bathroom, take a 5-minute break if you need to. Don't engage in conversations. For me in the beginning, when I would sit around and my family would be talking about XYZ and their person and this person and that, and they're, seeing this person and these people are getting divorced. And it was just so easy to get caught up in that. Oh my gosh, well, who are they seeing now? And what are they? It's none of my business. And so, but in the beginning, it's so easy to get caught up and then you feel yucky. And so now I just don't even engage in it. A lot of times I'll just exit the room, and nobody even knows I'm doing it. Right. And so there's some different techniques like that. And we'll talk about a few more that we use a lot, for times when you can't say no and you have to be in that environment.
Yeah. And even prior to going to see your family, like shopping, for instance, there's a lot of negativity in the world. Just because we try to live the most positive lives that we can live doesn't make it so. Like, it doesn't make the whole world positive. It just means that we spend more time around energy that brings us that positivity, or we are very intentional about avoiding situations that are not that way. And so for shopping, I've done most of mine online now. That way I don't have to be in the grumpy line with the people complaining and the people in the parking lot cutting you off, because it's still there. Just because we are positive and growth mindset doesn't mean that the reality of the world has changed. There are still people who wake up grumpy and go to bed grumpy, and they won't share that grump all day long when they go out and about. So like a simple tip of, can you do some shopping online versus going and being a part of all that energy that you can't control? Another thing for me is when I was struggling to get in the Christmas spirit, so to speak, I had gotten to a point where I almost like resented gift giving a little bit, like they're not going to appreciate it anyway, and I'm going to put all this time and effort into it. And That was a mindset shift of, what, I'm going to get excited about giving a gift to somebody that I love, and that's all I can control. That's all I can control. It's the intention I put into it, the love I put into that. And that's enough. Like, it's enough to, whether they receive that or not is not on me. I'm not a gift card giver necessarily. You hear people, that's all they do is give gift cards, because that's not a very thoughtful gift. I try to be thoughtful and try to bring joy to someone else through a gift. And that's my intention. And whether they receive it that way, that's on them. But, it really was that mindset shift of not, because I think there's energy that clings to stuff. So if I'm out there buying a gift with a resentment in my heart of buying it and going ahead and making up my mind that they're not going to appreciate it, sort of having that attitude, well, when they open it, guess what? They're going to feel all that nastiness that I was putting into it when I was wrapping it, right?
Well, another piece of this for me is the gift giving part as far as my children are concerned. Back in the day, I was keeping up with the Joneses, right? And so everybody had to have a MacBook, everybody had to have a new phone, and so the stress of being able to give these gifts that were very expensive when I really couldn't afford to, knowing that the entire Christmas was going on a credit card and was going to hang over me for the rest of the year, that gift giving did not come from a place of abundance. It came from a place of not enough, but I've got to do it anyway. And the negative connotation from internally, my children would have never thought or felt that. But for me, it was, they have to have what everybody else has. They have to have these $100 button-up shirts. Like, it really, I think for me, dampened my spirit, my holiday gift giving and love for the season, because I was so stressed out about the money I was spending. that I really shouldn't have been spending. And so, my boys are a little bit older now, but we had a conversation a couple of years ago that that's not how this works anymore. Like, if you need something throughout the year, I'm going to help you. I'm going to buy you a pair of jeans if you need a pair of, like, we can talk about shoes, right? But Christmas, I think, the last few years, especially, I've really kind of rolled back into, what do you really need? And then what can we go do together and spend the money on a memory that we can make together instead of a thing and some items. And really, when we started doing that, I think it really shifted for everybody. I was so worried about not having enough boxes under the tree to open on Christmas morning that I was forgetting about the good love and fun that goes into when a gift is, we're going to go snow tubing, we're going on a cruise, we're going to the beach for 4 days, and we're going to do all these excursions. I think when I spend my money that way, and the energy that brings up was so much fun. But getting stuck in that, gotta buy it, gotta do it, was hard to get out of.
Yeah, I was just listening to somebody on the radio, I think the other day, talking about how we don't remember, like, when you're a child, do you remember what you actually got, like, as a gift? Or do you remember, like your kids do, that we wear matching pajamas on Christmas Eve night, and we have special treats and special foods? With my family, that's a big thing, is we've been eating the same thing on Christmas Eve for my whole life. And when you go to try to change it, people get angry. They're like, wait, why are you not making the fudge? And why are you not, what are you doing? Like, messing with our traditions. But it's because you've got those good, warm feelings attached to those memories, right? And so I was just eating lunch with somebody today, and she was saying that their family, they don't do gifts like, a tangible gift. They do experiences together as a family, and they really get into it. And they make it at least once a year. They go together somewhere as a family, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but it's just the togetherness. And I mean, that's really what it's about, is right. The being with people you love, being peaceful while you're with them, right? Not the Griswold family Christmas,
right? Well, and there's a lot to be said too about intentionality. Mm-hmm. Walking into an event or a function, speaking to someone, giving a gift, but doing all those things with thought before you actually do them. In some of our other podcasts, you've heard us say, like, we try to maybe put on our shield to protect ourselves from going into a room of folks that maybe we don't want to collect their stuff. And so, sometimes it's a rubber suit, sometimes it's a ball of light, sometimes it's a metal, an armor. Those are things you can do before you go into a situation that may have some negative impact on you, is put on your shield, envision yourself being protected. But other things are, a lot of times I'll envision giving the gift and I'll get this feeling of, oh my God, it just felt so good. They were so excited. And so I give it with the intention of them feeling loved, and feeling excited. And I'm a bad acceptor of gifts. I struggle with someone giving me a gift because I get excited about it, but I don't always show that. And so a lot of times for me too, it is being very intentional about letting someone see my genuine excitement and love for whatever they did give me, because I'm so guarded sometimes in that respect, which is silly because I'm not guarded in a lot of other ways, but somebody giving me something's kind of hard for me. So it's being really intentional about what you're buying, what you're doing, who you're around, how you're experiencing or want to experience. When you set the intention of what you do want, more times than not, that's what'll happen.
Yeah. And so there were a lot of key takeaways in there, but, being intentional going into it, having an exit strategy, like you were talking about, it's real easy to get caught up in the negative talk and all that really you and I have worked really hard to not do. We still, we're human and we still fall back into it sometimes, but we're dedicated to trying to overcome that. And so I think when we're in situations where it's happening all around us, it's easy to get caught up into it, like you said. And so having an exit strategy, like, okay, well, what am I going to do if this happens? Okay, I'm going to get up and go to the restroom, or I'm going to walk outside for a second and breath of fresh air. I'm gonna intentionally change the subject, get us on a more positive thing. I'm gonna turn some music on and see if that helps,
Yes.
So it's like, what are some things you can pre-think about? Because we know what sort of brings us down and what we experience when we walk into Christmas parties or family get-togethers and things like that. And so you can sort of pre-plan, protecting your energy before you go in, but then also how do you deal with things that are going to come at you?
Well, I think putting my patient pants on is what I call it too. The town I live in's traffic is ridiculous, even at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock on a Sunday. Like, it is bumper to bumper. You can't go anywhere. And so for me, I'm finding myself like, I've bought everything I can online. And so there's a good handful of things I need to go to the store for. And so it's going, okay, I'm going to find a good podcast. I'm going to find some good music. And I don't care how long it takes me to get there, how long it takes to get home. When I'm standing in line, I am looking at little babies. I'm saying hello to some woman beside me. I'm just in a good, I'm patient. I'm putting myself in a good mindset. I'm making sure that I compliment the person who's taking my money because she's been on her feet working, or he's, all day long. And so I'm really trying to do just some small random acts of kindness during that trip, because that makes me feel so much better. And you forget to be mad. You forget to be impatient. When you're thinking about how to make somebody smile, you forget to be grumpy. And so that really, putting my patient pants helps too, because I tend to want to go and get it done. And so to be able to share some kindness and some joy and a smile and a quick conversation, and then the ripple effect, right? Somebody goes, oh, that felt good, and says hello, nice purse to somebody else who, it really is. That's what it's about.
I don't think you've ever told me about your patient's pants.
They're my patient pants.
I didn't know about the patient pants. I'm learning as well as everybody else today.
You know everything usually.
So we just wanted for y'all to think about and be intentional about, because we've been there. We have both been there, and we've, taken the easy route of just falling into the negative, falling into the not seeing the blessings, falling into the let's get it done as fast as we can so we can be done with it, those kind of attitudes. And if you're listening to our podcast, you're probably listening to us because you want to learn what we've learned across the years to get us to a different mind space, which is where we are now, which is, trying to create experiences and feelings of joy and peace and positivity. And we do that by setting intentions and taking those intentional actions to get there. It doesn't just happen organically. And so even, wrapping gifts, making it a whole mood, like you got your Hallmark movies on and you got your Christmas lights on, and, making it a whole experience so that every little thing, while you're cooking the things that you're going to take for your family stuff, like putting on some Christmas music and listening to it. And I know when I was in that negative headspace, I would have thought, this woman's crazy. Like, she's going to tell me to make an experience out of, but you got to choose different. That's what I had to do. I had to choose to think about things differently. And those little tips and tricks helped me to get there once I chose and made a decision to live differently than I was.
Yeah. I mean, the line's going to be there. The lady with 5 returns and no receipts is going to be there. The traffic's going to be there, right? Those things are not going to change. But what has changed over the years is my interaction in the middle of those events, which means smiling instead of being grumpy and just being okay with whatever it is. You're going to get home, and when you get home, you're either going to be in a crappy mood because you were Grinch, or you're going to be in a happy mood because you were excited and okay with whatever it was. Makes a big difference.